We are live. Hi, Pranali ma'am, how are you?
Hi, Vishwanath. I'm good. How are you?
Doing good, ma'am.
How's your family?
All good. Good to see you after a long time.
Yes, yes. How's the situation in Eindhoven?
It's okay. It's one of the major cities which are the region which has been affected. But yeah, it's coming in control now. So it looks quite okay.
Okay, that's very good.
How
And
about your end, ma'am? All fine?
all this Hague is a lot of things have opened up now in the Hague, including restaurants, cafes, even the schools. Now all classes have also started. So it looks like it's getting slowly back.
Okay, good.
That's very good.
I saw Anita ma'am also joining, so I'm not sure if Anita ma'am is there.
Check. I think Anita has joined. I see her.
She's in the participant list. Sorry, there is a noise from someone's microphone.
Yeah, maybe you have to mute check.
Diksha, you can unmute yourself. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, ma'am. I see a name by MG. I do not know.
Good afternoon, Anita ma'am.
How are you doing?
We are doing good, ma'am. How about you?
Diksha, you can take the lead. Thank you.
Yeah, just a moment.
Maybe we'll allow another 2 more minutes.
Hi,
to
ma'am.
start.
We are doing. How are you? I'm fine, thank you. I think we'll wait for the ambassador to join and then we can begin this session.
Yeah. And in the meanwhile, the people who have joined, the participant, we request you to keep yourself on a mute. And Diksha will be the person who will be chairing this meeting. So she will guide all the guidelines, rules, and regulation before we start. And then we can take it up from there. Okay, sorry, I was on a mute. I was requesting all the participants to be on a mute, and Diksha will drive this meeting. So she will be the host, or she will be the Jackie for us to drive this meeting. So she would give the guideline before we start the meetings, and then from there we will go ahead. So we are waiting Ambassador Sir to join.
Thank you.
And everyone, kindly remain on mute unless you are speaking. And we already have an order of questions. So we'll go by that order. So unless and until your name is called for the question, please do not interrupt in the session.
And for all the participants, just for your note, we would be recording this session. That's only the audio. So for our future references, for the questionnaire, the answers, which would be published in our website as a FAQ. So we will be recording only the voice. Diksha, I think we have about 30 participants. Maybe you can just give a guideline participant information in the meanwhile before sir join, and then I think that's points which we need to read out to all the participants and the audience. We have two categories. So based on that, she will explain. Maybe you want to take it over?
The ambassador sir has already joined.
Okay. So
Hello everyone.
Hi, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Good to see you, sir. How are you doing?
Good. You don't have your video on?
Oh, is it? Maybe because I'm sharing my, we are going live. That is the reason.
Yeah,
Okay.
Now I can see you. Now I can see you.
Okay, great. So, good afternoon, sir. Thank you for joining, and thanks. It is a very pleasure that you agreed and gave us your precious time here to speak to our people. So, it's really happy for us.
I'm very happy to be here, and I like your new haircut and beard. The result of the lockdown.
Thank you, sir. Okay, so maybe Diksha, we can start with the guideline, so then we can go ahead further.
Okay, so good evening everyone and welcome to the first of its kind of session. It's an online meetup, as you already know, His Excellency Mr. Venu Rajamani. He's the Ambassador of India to Netherlands. This session is driven by Indian Center in Netherlands. For those who are new and those who have recently discovered us, we are Indian Center in Netherlands, also famously called as ICIN. We are an expat help center, basically focusing on Indian expats in the Netherlands. And fortunately, it's our 2-year anniversary today, so it's really a good moment to thank you everyone for believing in us, and we hope to continue our endeavors and help everyone in the upcoming years. So kudos to you and kudos to us. Before we begin this session, the highlight of this session, which I just forgot to mention, that we have people from more than 28 cities in this session. This first time that we have ever witnessed that we were able to, luckily we were able to bring whole of Netherlands together as one entity, all the Indian expats based even in the smallest cities of Netherlands. So it's a very proud moment for all of us. We would like to begin the session. You already have the guidelines in your email, but I would like to walk through the guidelines once again. This is a time-bound session and all the participants are ordered. We have ordered everyone based on the questions we received. So kindly stay on mute unless and until your name is called out in the session and you are required to ask your question. If your question has already been, kindly do not ask since it would be repetitive and we would be losing time. Do not interrupt in any ongoing conversation and keep the communication strictly in English, no Hindi or other regional languages. And if you have any counter questions or any additional questions, we might take it at the end of the session. So if you are not able to ask in between, kindly wait until the end of the session. We'll come back to it later if time permits. We are also doing live recording of the audio of this session so that we can make meeting notes and publish it later on Facebook, LinkedIn, and on our website. So I hope we have consent from all of you to live and we are right now on Facebook Live, so everyone else can watch. That would be all. If you have any questions, let us know later, and please do not write anything in the chat here unless it's very important. This is a 1.5 hour session and we have a set of questions, so let's begin without further ado. But before we take the questions, I would like to request Mr. Venu Rajamani, if you would like to share some thoughts with us.
Thank you, Diksha. Congratulations to ICIN on its second anniversary. I think all of you are doing great work in Eindhoven as well as across the Netherlands right now. It is wonderful that you have brought people together from various parts. I see there are about 39 participants. As of now, there might be more joining. So wonderful to be here, wonderful to interact with you. Let me just straight away talk about the crisis, the COVID-19 situation. From the time the lockdown began here in the Netherlands, same time, we made it a point to ensure that we are available to everyone who needed our help and support. All people needed to do was to send us an email, and we were able to respond to them. And we have been working strenuously with the Indian government and various authorities in India, as well as the Dutch government, to try and ensure that stranded Indians here in the Netherlands, as well as those who permanently live here and who are anxious to go to India for a variety of reasons, are successful in going back to India at the earliest. We have also been facilitating the return of Indians who were stranded in India back as soon as possible. So I'm very happy to inform that we have already had 2 flights, which have 2 KLM flights, which have taken back Indians from here. We had, at the time of the lockdown itself, we had about 150 people who were stranded in the airport for almost 2 days. They couldn't go back to the US from to North America from where they came. They couldn't come out here in Europe. They couldn't go to India. So there, again, with a lot of effort and with the support of KLM, we managed to send them back. And now we are in preparations for 2 flights. One which will take place on the 10th and the coming Wednesday, and the other on the 11th of Air India. The 10th flight will fly to Delhi. The 11th flight will fly to Mumbai. And these flights will also take people back. And we are working on one more Air India flight towards the end of the month, as well as permissions for people to go back by whatever means possible. There is a cruise company who has approached us for permission to take 2 chartered flights containing their employees back to India. We are working on permissions for them. In the meantime, because the situation in the Netherlands has steadily normalized, we have also started to resume functioning as normal in the embassy. The embassy is fully functioning now. The VFS Center for various consular services started operating from the 20th of May. While there are still disruptions in the communications with India, where the numbers of the infections are still steadily going up, we hope we will be able to provide consular service at least in a near normal status as much as possible and to the best of our ability. Let me say that as far as economy is concerned, both the Dutch economy and the Indian economy are likely to be hit badly because of the crisis this year. But it is our hope that there will be a rebound, and that rebound will come quickly. We will have to wait and watch how things work out in the world. But overall, we are confident that the warm welcome that the Indian community has received here in the Netherlands, that Indian students have received in our premier universities like TU Delft or TU Eindhoven, and in all other universities. I just mentioned those 2. So this welcome for the Indian community and Indian students will continue. We are confident that while there may be temporary setback to orders and business that Indian companies have had here, especially our IT companies, in the long run, this crisis will prompt companies to reimagine how they conduct their operations, how they run their processes. All companies will become increasingly digital. There will be more and more work from home, and all this digitization requires increased cybersecurity. So all these new developments will create opportunities for our IT companies in the long run. Our companies, the feedback we get from our companies are that they are poised to grasp these opportunities. And similarly, there is the original areas where the Dutch have a lot of strengths. There's water, agriculture, innovation. also to deal with both rising costs as well as an aging society here in the Netherlands and Europe. Let me conclude saying that June 21st, the coming 21st of this month, a Sunday, is International Yoga Day. While we had blocked Dam Square for holding massive celebrations of the kind we have done last year and the year before, we are unable to organize that big an event this year. There are restrictions on not more than 30 people gathering at a place. So it is our plan to organize the celebrations online on the embassy's website, on the website of the Stifting International Yoga Day, and on all the social media sites of the embassy. Please come and join us. We will publicize the information with regard to all these activities. Please join us that day to view these online activities. We have a long lineup of very interesting people, speakers from India, from the Netherlands, who will talk about their experience with yoga, how they see the benefits of yoga, important to do, many eminent personalities. We will publish the list soon. We hope all of you who are here can join us, and I would request ICIN to spread the message far and wide so that we can make the event a huge success. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you, sir. Sure, we would spread that information, and I think you answered most of the questions which we have already collected it in one single formation of giving a statement like that. We thank you, and it's our pleasure to have you here on our second anniversary, and also like we are connected with more than 28 city Indians who are living in Netherlands. Not only that one, we have two requests, one from Italy and one from Poland. I don't know if they have joined, but we have an Indians who have requested to join for this session. So somewhere we are connected. Definitely we will see what best we can do. Over to you, Diksha.
Yeah, thank you, sir, and thank you, Vishwanath. Before we proceed taking individual questions, since we had more than 90 registrations, there were a couple of questions which were common, and I would like to ask them on behalf of the audience. The first one was about the repatriation flights to Chennai and Hyderabad. As we already know, they have started. So what other flights do you think would be recognized under Vande Bharat mission and are likely have a chance? Which other cities people can fly to?
Well, the Vande Bharat mission is happening across the world. There are demands from Indians in various countries for special flights to fly back to India. And the government of India, the Ministry of External Affairs in particular, is working very closely with Air India to try and see how these flights can be operated and managed. It is difficult for Air India to send flights to cities where there is only a small number of people from here to go there. Therefore, in all probability, and what has been happening till now, is that the bulk of the flights will go to Delhi and Mumbai and perhaps Bangalore. And then for the other cities, there will be lesser flights. For the Netherlands, we have projected a flight towards the end of the month from Amsterdam to go to Mumbai first, then Chennai, and then Hyderabad. We have a flight to Bangalore, which is going on the 11th, and we have a flight to Delhi on the 10th. We already, whatever passengers we could send to Mumbai, we managed to send a large number, about 180 people or so, to Mumbai on KLM flights, and we will wait and see how we can send more people back to Mumbai.
Okay.
Sir, any plan for Kolkata or Kerala? Anything has been planned, because you said limited of numbers. So based on that, so
as of now, the passengers for Kerala will have to go to Bangalore and then move to Kerala on their own. We have tried for permission to extend that flight to Cochin. That has not come through until now. We are still waiting. Let's see what happens before the flight. Otherwise, passengers will have to disembark in Bangalore, undergo quarantine there, and then proceed to Kerala. For Kolkata, once again, we are sending people to Delhi, and from there, after quarantine, people will have to move on to Kolkata.
Okay. Thank you for that information. The second very common question which we have received approximately from 30 people was, when will the commercial flights are expected to open to and from India? Because there are some people who have work visa here or have resident permit, but they are not able to travel back to the Netherlands, and some who are not even able to travel back to India. So what about the commercial flights?
Well, let me first say that for those who are stranded in India, there are KLM flights which are coming out of Delhi and Mumbai back to Netherlands. Also, these Vande Bharat mission Air India flights which come out of whatever destinations they come from also can bring passengers back, and they are looking for passengers. So if anybody would like to come back, they should contact Air India, they should contact KLM. They should look at the websites and see what flights are available and try and book themselves and return to the Netherlands. Beyond that, when will regular commercial flights begin? When will international flights begin? I honestly don't know. There's no clarity on it. All we know is that till the end of June, definitely there will not be flights. But after that, when it will begin will depend upon the situation. Then most of you are aware that the number of infections in India have been steadily going up. The government has, despite the infections going up, the government has been easing restrictions, and domestic flights have begun in a small way with a lot of conditions and rules. So we will need to wait and watch when international flights will resume, and to which destinations, how many flights, what frequency. For the time being, there is no alternative but to be patient and wait.
And last question, that was one of the top 3 questions that we have received about the family visas for people who want here to the Netherlands on tourist visas, because people are expecting their families or their parents to come here and stay with them in case of emergencies like pregnancy or family issues. So so how and when do you see they would be able to do so?
The visa operations of the Dutch Embassy in Delhi as well as their consulates in Mumbai and Bangalore are currently closed. They haven't resumed visa operations like we have here. We have already asked the Ministry of Foreign Affairs here in the Netherlands when these operations will begin. We have also flagged to them the fact that a lot of Indians are waiting to come back to the Netherlands, and they'd like to obtain the visas at the earliest. So we are awaiting information from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Okay. So we'll move on to the participants here. Is Shashank from...
sorry, Diksha, 1 second. There was one more common question which I got it on a WhatsApp today morning from many parents, especially. They are saying that the schools are open and the children are going to the school. And as of now, if you see the recent issue which has happened in Den Haag or Rotterdam, about the teacher got infected and there were an impact which was... So they are a little bit worried. So are we seeing something which can be... do you think that which we can discuss with you can discuss with the government and see what can be done, not making as a compulsory to send the children to the school, because parents are getting very daily calls from the school saying that you have to compulsorily send.
I see. Our instructions to Indians who live here, irrespective of their citizenship, whether they be Indian citizens or whether they be Dutch citizens of Indian origin, is please follow the guidelines of the government, please follow the instructions of the government. If you have any concerns, please raise it with the concerned authorities, in this case the school authorities or the local municipality. They would be best in place to guide you on this. It would not be appropriate for the embassy to get involved in a matter where the Dutch government is taking a policy decision for the whole of the country, and which affects not just the Indian community but people from all countries, and most important of all, people of the Netherlands. So we would urge anybody who has a concern must raise it with the school authorities and with the municipality to see what their response is. Overall, I would say that Netherlands appears to have handled the situation very well. It has flattened the curve. The number of infections have been brought down. The number of people going to hospitals has come down. The number of mortalities has come down. And it is a very competent government which is in power. And they are taking scientific opinion. And based on the advice of the scientists, they are taking decisions. They have also made it clear to everyone that if there is a sudden spike in infections, they will take necessary steps to reimpose the lockdown. So I would say and I would advise that everybody should follow whatever decisions the Dutch government is taking in their collective wisdom, in their best wisdom, and they should follow those instructions.
Very well said and fair enough. We'll proceed with the students first. So I would like to know if Shashank from Utrecht University is here.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, please go ahead with your question.
I think there is a presentation or a caption which has come.
Yeah, okay.
It's just the person who is asking the question.
Can I proceed now?
Yeah, please. Go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, sir. Thank you for talking to us. So I'm doing my master's at Utrecht University. So I joined last September. So my question is that since majority of our education system is to happen online, and we have already paid a huge amount of money for the physical education, obviously. But we have been deprived of that. So my question is there a possibility that we can hope for a refund in that situation, and is there something that the embassy can do for us, since a lot of Indian students are there in Netherlands? So I think this concern is common to all of us. So I would like to know more about this.
We have been engaged in interacting widely with students from various universities. I had an interaction with students at TU Delft, I had an interaction with students from different universities. So people have raised this concern, and we have flagged it to both the university authorities as well as the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. However, the response and the feedback we have got so far is that each student has to individually approach the university concerned and the student advisors. They do have systems of reduced fee or special exemptions under special circumstances, but overall a complete withdrawal or reduction of the fee is a policy decision they have to make, which affects not just Indian students but also Dutch students, and that is a matter for the Dutch government to take overall. What has been also pointed out is that even though you may not have visiting classes, ultimately your degree will be from one of the best universities in the world, the Utrecht University in your case, and it will carry a lot of value wherever you go. But either way, please try with your student advisor, try with your university authorities.
Just to add to you, sir, maybe we have planned, we already discussed with Eindhoven Gemeente on this type of concerns. We are interacting with them regularly, and 20th of June we have planned one session with Gemeente Council and with the students. One session and one session with the council and the working people. So we are planning for 2 sessions where they can put this question. So they want to hear directly from the students to understand what they can do on the rebate. So this step has been taken from ICAN for this Eindhoven region, because that's where we have little bit connect. Maybe now we will step in to other cities as well. Just to add you, maybe if you can join on that session, that would be really helpful.
Very good, Vishwanath. Well done. I'm very happy you're doing this session. Please send the details and I will see if I can join. If not, one of my colleagues from the embassy will surely join. Please send us pictures and feedback on the event after it happens, so that we can also publicize it for you. Or we'd also be happy to publicize it even before the event happens through the embassy social media channels.
Thank you for that, sir. We'll move on to the next question. Is Surya Venkat from from Han University? Are you here? No, I think he was in the call and he just left. Apoorv Parekh,
Yes, hello, I am here.
Hi. Yeah, please go ahead with your question.
Yes.
Hello, go ahead.
Yes, thanks. I would like to ask something about the quarantine. Like, how many days? Like, right now it is something around 6 days, and then according to the symptoms, will there be internet there during quarantine?
Well, the quarantine arrangements are arrangements for which you have to pay yourself.
Yes.
And in both Delhi and Mumbai, there is a wide variety of choices. Depending upon your ability to pay, you can choose where you want to be. There are many hotels who have offered these facilities, and many people are staying in the hotels. And I'm sure they would have, if they already had Wi-Fi facilities, they would have standard Wi-Fi facilities.
Another, there will be any repatriation flights during July?
Repatriation flights from the Netherlands?
Yes, from the Netherlands in July.
As of now, don't know. We only know for June. I had mentioned that what we are sure is that international flights will not begin in June. The situation for July will be clear only towards the end of June.
Yes, okay, got it. And the last question, home quarantine is permissible?
No, the instructions of the government currently is that it should be 1 week of institutional quarantine.
Yes, thank you, got it.
Okay, thanks, Apurv. We'll move to the next person, Abranasta. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name incorrect.
Yeah, you can call me Abra only. Hello.
Okay.
Hello, sir. And I first of all want to thank ICIN because this is something we were really wishing for some time to talk to sir directly. And then you guys have arranged it, so thank you. I had 2 questions actually. The first one has been already asked among your top 3. So basically, to be precise, my wife is expecting our first child in September. And yeah, we would like to have her mother with us. And sir, you have mentioned about one scenario where the visa operations in India is closed, but she's having already a 5-year visa, but a tourist visa. So it's a little different situation for us. So she has a visa, but she is not a resident permit holder, but a tourist visa holder. So in that case, and we are from Calcutta, so obviously there is no repatriation flight happening from Calcutta. So she has to make arrangements to reach Delhi or Mumbai, I could imagine. But do you think that will be a problem, considering she's not a resident permit holder, but a tourist visa holder for a longer time? And will she be allowed to travel?
I would suggest that you check with KLM or with the Dutch Embassy in Delhi. The Indian government has no restrictions on person with multiple entry visa traveling to Schengen. But if I remember the last notification I saw, up to June 15th, the Dutch government and all Schengen countries are discouraging tourists coming here, but after June 15th it should be normal. So people with a visa should be able to come, but please double check that it is a decision of the Dutch government and you will need to get your facts clear.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot, sir. And I had a second one actually. I guess I'm allowed to, right? To ask.
Yeah, go quick.
Yeah, okay, sure. So, okay, I think we discussed quite a lot about the current situation. So, this is a question about little futuristic here. And yeah, we could understand, you mentioned about the economical conditions as well. So, it is not really good back in home as well as here. So, this is basically about the future in 2021 and so. What I wanted to understand is, so what would be the best avenues to bring, like to bridge basically the supply and demand between India and Netherlands in the areas which you have mentioned, and to bring more and more Make in India products in Netherlands. So what would be the best avenues for us as expats to check in coming time when it stabilizes?
No, there are no single windows for this. So you have to explore where are you based in the Netherlands?
It's in north. It's called Hoorn, a little town in north.
Hoorn?
Yeah.
Okay. Near Amsterdam, if I remember right.
50 kilometers north.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So look locally. What are the people you have there? What are the buyers you have there? What kind of supplies are they looking for? See if you can source it from India. Otherwise, go on to the internet, search for major importers. Netherlands is a big importer as well as an exporter of goods. So there are always products coming and going. Their port operations have more or less gone back to normal. And there are exports out of India which are also happening. So you need to be attentive. There is and say you go here and then you'll get all your information. You need to search, you need to identify products, you need to make sure that they meet the import regulations and the quality standards which exist here, and you need to buy here. So all of this is possible, everything is open.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, we had a lot of students asking one very common question that I would like to put forward for you, because I don't see many of them have joined. It was regarding the financial support from the embassy. Is there any financial support which is provided, or which the embassy is willing to provide in the near future? And the students?
We can't, we don't have the resources to provide financial support for people who are here on a long term. For those who were stranded and those who were distressed, those who had no money to have a roof above their heads or for food to eat, we have been looking after them, and we have looked after them, and we have managed to send them back, and that has to a large extent exhausted all our resources. If there is any emergency, if there is somebody who is absolutely so poor or so much without resources that he can't even have food to eat, certainly we will step in. And there are a number of community organizations which have also offered to support and help. We will look at that. They should write to the embassy. But a general financial assistance, the embassy doesn't have the resources.
Okay. All right. We'll take the next question from Kunal Krishna. Kunal? I see him in the meeting, but he's on mute right now. But his question was, there were actually two questions on this in the same category. What about the emergency travels? So if somebody is not traveling on the Vande Bharat or repatriation flights and not even willing to wait for the commercial flights, but if there are some emergencies, if somebody has to travel back to India, what and how the embassy is going to support them in that case?
There is no way of traveling to India other than through the Vande Bharat missions, or in some exceptional cases, as I've already mentioned, we have managed to get permission for KLM flights. So wherever we get permission for KLM flights, we will publicize that, and whoever wants to go back can contact us, can register with us and go back on those flights. For the Vande Bharat flights also, we have been maintaining a waiting list of almost 1,800 people. We are trying to send them back little by little as quickly as possible. So the Vande Bharat flights are the only mode by which people can go back to India, even in an emergency. Or they are actually meant, all the seats there are meant for people who have one emergency or the other.
Okay, and they can find all this information on the website of embassy, right?
The website of the embassy and social media, all information. And then the registration link for people who want to go back to India, they can go and register themselves.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much. Next question we'll take from Soji Matthew.
Hello. I think you can hear me. Thanks for your time, sir. Partly answer my question, but my in-laws are here and their visa is expired and they want to go back, and they were selected for a flight to Bangalore. But then I heard that they have to be quarantined in Bangalore, and then they have to again go to Kerala, quarantine again there, so that they will reach in 1 month after going from Amsterdam. So, and the problem is that they both had a medical condition and their medicines are over, and they had a consultation here, and the doctors cannot do much more because they don't have the medical history and blah blah. So they want to reach home as early as possible. Is there any way we can avoid the quarantine in Bangalore and they can go directly to Kerala?
As of now, no. As I mentioned earlier, we have sought permission to see if the Air India flight from Bangalore can be extended to Kerala, to Cochin, in which case they can just sit on the flight and they can have their quarantine in Cochin. But the permission from Air India for that does not come through. So if it comes through, we will immediately announce and we will publicize it. But until such time, there is no option but to undergo 1 week's quarantine in Bangalore, and then to proceed to Kerala, and whatever are the instructions of the Kerala government at that point of time. I think Kerala government has also, I'm not sure of what the latest position is as to whether it is home quarantine in Kerala or quarantine. So it's home quarantine.
Yeah, today they announced it is home quarantine. That's a little bit comfortable now.
Essentially 1 week in Bangalore, and then they can be at home in quarantine.
Okay, thanks for your answer and thanks for your time.
All the best.
Moving forward, we'll take the next question from Shiva S. Jainath. I hope you're in the call.
Hello.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, sir. Thank you for your time.
Good afternoon.
And I also thank ICIN for making this platform, because it's a real privilege among the whole world right now. Not many people have this. I feel a little bit positive because of this, because my mother-in-law is able to stay with us a bit longer. Actually, she came to visit her daughter and her granddaughter, because she was turning 1 and she's been here now. And she's actually turning 70. And I do not want to send her during this quarantine time, especially because she's staying alone, especially from Indore, which is a red zone. So I would like to extend as much as possible. So what is the methods or way whether I can, if it's possible, I would rather keep her here itself till the end of the year. After everything is getting down better, then maybe send her back. Because right now, her visa has been extended up to 30th of June.
Well, this is really a decision for the Dutch government, and they have their rules in this regard, which you are familiar with. Because of the coronavirus situation, they are very liberal in granting extension. And as long as regular international flights don't commence, I think it will not be a problem. But once regular flights commence, how willing they will be to give extensions or to bypass their existing rules, I do not know. You will have to wait and watch.
Okay, because what I heard is the Scandinavian government, for the citizens who are locked in India, and especially above 70 years old or 65, they have given them up till November. Like they themselves have told, like, okay, up till November you can still stay. That's what I heard, but I'm not sure about it.
In India?
Yes.
For their own citizens?
Yes.
Look, you're talking about the Netherlands government giving Indian citizens visas.
Okay.
Entirely different example. But anyway, you try with the Dutch government. As the Indian government, as representatives of the Indian government, we cannot interfere into these decisions of the Dutch government.
Okay.
Okay, please you try your best with the.
Thank you. Sure.
Okay, thank you, Shiva. I will take the next question because I see the guys who have asked are not present in the meeting. It is about the startups which have been founded in India by the Indian expats. People want to know the support that embassy is going to provide post-COVID situation for these startups here in the Netherlands.
See, the embassy doesn't provide support for startups in the Netherlands. That is for the Netherlands government to provide support. The Dutch government has announced a number of subsidies for people who have been affected by the COVID crisis, including for startups. So they should look at what are the subsidies that the Dutch government is providing and see how they can avail of them.
Okay. Next question we'll take from Balaji.
Hello, sir. I'm from Eindhoven now. My question is about, partially it got answered in the beginning, but a little bit specific. It's like a generic futurist related question. So we have Indian population also slowly growing in Netherlands, and so see that kind of crisis situation embassy is very helpful. And my question is about in future how much this will sort of help from embassy, and from as an embassy, how do you feel the Dutch government response, and when you are approaching with that kind of situation? How do you feel that kind of response from Dutch government?
Balaji, please type your. I couldn't hear you. Text type.
Oh, okay, sir.
Can you repeat your question?
Diksha? That is as a text message. I couldn't hear you.
Sir, can you hear us?
I can hear you. I couldn't hear Balaji.
Okay.
Balaji,
How
please
about now,
repeat.
sir? How about now, sir? Can you hear me now, sir?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. My question is about how much the response you are getting from the Dutch government during this sort of crisis situation.
I think some connectivity issue for sir.
Yeah.
How about others? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Maybe I think there is some connectivity issue for sir.
Okay.
How much support we have from the Dutch government?
Oh, we can't hear you anymore.
Sir, we can't hear you.
So can you rejoin to the call?
Diksha?
Yeah, sir, we can't hear you properly.
Can you hear me, Diksha?
Yeah, now we can hear you.
Hello?
Yes, now we can hear you. There is some connectivity issue. The video and audio is getting freezed in between.
Can you see me? Can you hear me?
Yes, now we can.
Yes, I'm seeing Balaji's question. How do I feel the response of the Dutch government?
Yes, how is the...
From the Dutch government during this situation, I think the response of the Dutch government is very good. Yeah, they have had situation, but they have been supportive to those who were stranded here and who needed visa extensions. They have also been very helpful to families who have been stranded here and needed visa extensions. So the response has been very good.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, Diksha?
Yeah, now we can. Sir, is it possible for you to rejoin the call because there is a connectivity issue at your end? We are getting intermittent voice from your side.
Diksha, which one you mind any more?
Yes, there are a couple of questions.
Okay. What makes the drop and connect again?
There seems a network issue.
Okay, I think he got disconnected, so he may join back. So right now, how many participants do we have?
Yeah.
We have about 32 participants on this call, and I think 19 people are looking at the live streaming. That is what I can see, and yeah, the session is going good. Thank you all. And Mrinalini ma'am, before sir joins, do you want to add something because this is the first online session with the public where Ambassador Sir is meeting with all the audience, and we also did a goal live session, this one streaming on the Facebook on our page. So I think this is the first time which is being done. And right now streaming is also going good, and as well as the discussion with the sir is also going good. So before the sir joins, would you like to add something?
Sure, thanks, Vishwanath. Actually, I was just going to check with sir regarding if sir was having any issues rejoining. But I also wanted to let everyone know, if you go to our embassy website, you can find an email where if you have any specific queries, you can email on cons.thehage@mea.gov.in, and they are looking at the emails every minute, every hour, and responding as well. So if you have any specific questions you want answered, you can use that email as well to ask your questions to the embassy officials. And I also wanted to thank ICIN for organizing the session today, and of course, congratulations for your 2-year anniversary.
Oh,
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Let me just call up Ambassador once.
Yeah. Anita ma'am, are you there on the call?
Yeah. Can I also just add, next week on Friday, Ambassador Sir is holding a session with health officials from the ACTAR group, and we are going to be discussing the success of Kerala's program with regard to containment of COVID. So if anyone wants to join that webinar, they are more than welcome to join. I will also send Vishwanath the information to circulate to the group. So you're more than welcome to join that session as well.
Sure, thank you. Maybe Anita ma'am, you can unmute yourself and can speak.
Yeah, Vishwanath, I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Shall we finish?
Yes, we have, I think, 3-4 more questions for you. But I'll take them because I don't see those students here in the call.
But could you just quickly run through them?
Yeah. It's about the research funding from the Indian government post-COVID and the careers prospects for students after this pandemic situation is over.
Well, the economy is in a bad shape, so searching for a career is going to be difficult, and they should be prepared for that. However, that doesn't mean that there is no hope. There are still jobs available. There's still economic activity happening, both here in the Netherlands as well as India, and there is hope of a speedy recovery. So they will have to try and do their best to search for jobs. And as far as research funding is concerned, there is a regular collaboration happening between the Indian government, the Department of Science and Technology, and the Department of Biotechnology, and Ministry of Electronics and IT with the Dutch counterparts. And there are many research calls which are issued from time to time, whereby both governments collectively fund such research activities. So I'm not aware of any special grants or special proposals which have been announced post-COVID, but the regular institutional funding is continuing as before.
Okay. And how is the Indian Embassy going to support the people who have lost their job due to the COVID situation crisis?
Well, we can't provide jobs to people who have lost their jobs.
Or they are stranded here?
Yeah, so what we can do is to try and help them go back on these Vande Bharat missions. They should try and find jobs on their own to the best of their ability. And we will try and put them on a flight as soon as possible if they want to return to India.
All right. And there was a question related to Ministry of Ayush as well. That is Ministry of Ayush able to provide their preventing medicine kits for Indians who are staying in the Netherlands? And somebody from Eindhoven would like to take initiative as Ayurveda consultant here. So is a channel possible by embassy?
Well, he will have to approach the concerned authorities on its own to see whether such kits can be brought here. We cannot officially do it because the Dutch government doesn't recognize it as an official system. So whatever Ayurveda consultancies they are doing, if it is permitted and if it is legal, they can continue to do it. But it's difficult for the Indian government to step into it or for the embassy to step into it because we don't want to be violating local regulations.
Okay, and I think it is the one of the last questions that when will the normal facilities like passport renewal and opening of Netherlands embassies expected to happen?
I have already mentioned in the beginning that the VFS, which runs passport and visa facilities for the Indian embassy here, they have opened from 20th of May. The Indian embassy is also fully open. As far as the Dutch embassy and Dutch consulates in India are concerned, we'll have to wait and hear from them. They are closed as of now. We have asked the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Okay. And is home quarantine acceptable for people who are landing here in Amsterdam?
There is no quarantine for anybody coming in Amsterdam. The Dutch government no such requirement.
Okay, all right. The last question is with respect to the business outlook for the India-Netherlands relationship during the COVID-19 and post-COVID-19 situation. Are there any tie-ups or any channels which are being set up for the smooth flow of business between India and the Netherlands?
So right now, everybody is trying to cope up with the crisis. And the economy is badly hit. We know that the economy is badly hit, both here in the Netherlands as well as in India. But there will be a recovery, and what is that recovery going to look like? Will it be V-shaped? Will it be U-shaped? Will it be a Nike swoosh? Will it be a W? All this is being discussed by economists across the world. Let us hope that the recovery will come as soon as possible, both to Netherlands as well as to India.
All right. I think as far as I see, most of the questions have been answered.
Thank you, Diksha. I need to run along for another meeting.
Yeah.
It's been lovely interacting with all the people that you brought together here. I want to give congratulations and compliments to ICIN.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Sir, one question, sir. Sorry. Before you leave, I heard that the flights payments with the evacuation flights which is being done right now, the flight charges is not being charged. Is that correct, or is there any nominal fees which the people has to pay?
There is a fee which Air India will determine.
Okay.
Which has it's not a nominal fee, but it is close to a regular fare.
Okay. So that's it, sir, from our side. Thank you very much for sparing your valuable time and meeting all of us. And that was like a coincidence when we got the date that it's our anniversary. We realized today morning only that it's our anniversary and you're there with us. So it was really pleasure for us.
All the best, Vishnath. All the best.
Thank you.
All our community members in Eindhoven. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Madhavan, I think you're trying to say something.
We have a question from Rajkumar. Is there a chance for Vande Bharat Phase 4? I think, Rajkumar, it's already been answered that few more flights to Delhi, Mumbai and Bangalore have been arranged. Also to Chennai and Hyderabad. There are a couple of flights which are arranged at the beginning of next month. So keep an eye on the embassy's website, and they have approximately 1,000 people in line, repatriation flights. So I hope you also do get a chance.
Okay, Runali ma'am, can you spare another 10 or 15 minutes, because I see some of the questions which has not been answered. That is what they are saying. Maybe if we can put it over to you, and maybe later sir can reply back to us, we can post it in our website. Is that okay with you, or maybe Anita ma'am?
Sure, we can try.
Okay, I see Vishal Sarkar who said that it's not been answered. Maybe you want to shoot out a question. Maybe Vishal, you can go ahead.
Good evening. Thanks for allowing me for my question. Actually, my question was, I am not in the situation of any the criteria as mentioned on the website that my visa is there, everything is there, but still I am living here on a single status, and it was intended to see my family each after every 2 months or something like that, and now almost 5 to 6 months happens. My family couldn't travel here in the month of April, and I was expected to go back, and now I want to go back, but there is no reason mentioned in that list. But still, I can travel through this Vande Bharat mission. That's what my question is.
I think that it was already mentioned by the ambassador himself that there is a long queue of people who have emergency situations, and everybody is being accommodated based on the emergencies. So I guess if you do not have any certain of emergency, probably it would be best advised for you to wait until the seats are empty, or probably you're given a go for traveling back to India.
However, I would suggest is, Vishal, you could send out an email to that email ID which has been mentioned on the chat and check the possibility, so that can be done. Mrinali ma'am, would you like to add something to that?
I think that Diksha and you have already answered that question, because yes, as Diksha mentioned, there are a number of people who have a pressing need to go back to India and would be given priority and preference. But then Vishwanath said you can email, and at least if you would like to go back, at least register. But do state that you do not have a pressing need, because we would like those who need to go for pressing reasons and on priority to get the preference.
I think we have an additional question from Rajkumar. Rajkumar, would you like to ask yourself?
Yeah, thank you so much, ma'am. I would like to thank everyone, who organized this one with us. It's a very privilege to talk to him. My question was, there is one flight arranged to Tamil Nadu, which is combined with Hyderabad. But when I checked with the embassy, they mentioned that there are 150 plus people waiting for Tamil Nadu. So my question, one flight won't be sufficient when you combine Tamil Nadu and Hyderabad. So that's what whether after June more flights will be added as a phase 3, because till now Air India announced all the flights in phase 3.
So, sir, Ambassador said that the July schedule has yet not been announced for the repatriation flights. We'll know more at the end of June regarding the flights in July. From the embassy side, we've also intimated the numbers for the.
Sorry, ma'am, you're muted.
Ma'am, I think by mistake it was muted. You.
Sorry. So thanks for your question. Actually, Ambassador already announced that at the end of June, the flights, the Vande Bharat flights, will be announced for July. So we will know more. The embassy has already informed regarding the numbers and the cities who are waiting to go. So we will know more at the end of June, which are the additional flights that will be there.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Okay, thanks everyone. And you still have some questions, Diksha, to get it answered, or is almost all the questions has been covered? Okay, I see Madhavan is asking. Maybe Madhavan, go ahead.
Yeah, even though the Vande Bharats are there, getting the ticket in the Vande Bharat is supposed like a thriller. Whether when you will get the mail, you can pay it or not. Tough thing going on. We can't sleep till whether we get the ticket or not. So even the last Delhi flight, my friend went from morning 6 a.m. in the airport. Even though his name in the list, he got everything. He got the ticket only at 1. So how to avoid this kind of thriller? Last minute. But if you give some correct answer, it's very helpful for all of us.
So, sir, actually, Air India is directly doing the bookings and the ticketing. The embassy is giving the names to Air India of the people who have registered for that sector. And Air India will be sending the link for the booking of the ticket. But I will also convey this feedback if there can be more time before the ticket booking and the flight. So thank you.
Thank you.
I think we have taken up all questions so far.
Okay. So
is there anyone else? But I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. If anybody else would like any questions to be added, or maybe some other feedbacks you would like to share at the present situation, which you think that it's good to share it with the people and as well as the embassy?
Excuse me, can I ask a question?
Sure, Apur, go ahead.
Yes, as we land in Mumbai, but my hometown is in Surat. So for traveling from Maharashtra to Gujarat, will any document will be required for my parents to pick me up from Bombay?
I think for this specific question, if you can email, because I will also have to check on the interstate travel requirements between Maharashtra and Gujarat.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
Mrinal, would it also be an idea that if we receive any questions at ICIN email, maybe we can just combine all of them and send it towards the embassy, so that it would be easier for you also?
That would be very helpful. You can email them to cons.thehe@mea.gov.in. And you will receive a response.
Okay.
Guys, those who are not speaking, please go on mute. Okay, thanks. And I think we covered most of the questions, and we added some additional questions also from our side. Where
we'll take one last question from R. Venkatesha because he has just raised.
Okay, sure. Bibi, sir, go ahead.
For all the rest questions, please send an email to Indian Center NL.
Okay. Hello, Mrinalini. How are you? This is VP. Yeah.
Hi, how are you?
Fine. Quite in Bangalore. So it's not a question. I want to offer to many students. I'm a professor in TU Delft. I'm working in Delft for almost now 15 years. So there were some questions. I saw that. I do also. Some of them I can answer. Some of them I cannot because it's the university policies. But however, with respect to their education, with respect to sort of planning their future, and if they're worried, I can definitely understand that students who have taken loans and come here to study. I can actually talk to them, and my discussions with them can give them a little bit of peace of mind, as well as some energy and enthusiasm to complete their courses. As much as possible, I can try to do that. So my email ID can be taken from ICIN, and also my webpage is there. Just search for Venkatesha Prasad, TU Delft. You will be able to find my WhatsApp number and also my addresses and other things. So I can try to help them if I can. And also, please note that I'm not a counselor, qualified counselor or something like that. So I don't want to claim any such things. But as a senior faculty member, I can talk to students. So this is what I can offer. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Venkatesh. That's a very noble gesture at your end to help ICIN and the students here. Thanks a lot for that.
Hey, thanks VP for your kind this thing. So maybe we'll plan one session with the students, because we have some more professors in TUE and other university as an Indian who are working there. Maybe we can join and do some combined session for the students. That would be helpful. That is what we were planning in our next agenda. So some connect for the students. So, and also Mrinali ma'am, I don't know if you are aware, like for the students we are trying to help as much as possible. So the students who are there here, if you need any food help, please do contact us. We are giving a free food groceries for everyone. We have already distributed 25 packets all across Netherlands. We are more giving it, and this is a service which is given by the provision of, we are giving it recently. It's been announced in the newspaper also. Please reach out. Maybe we are trying to extend this help for the international students also, where we would be trying to give some groceries for them based on their respective country, where we are getting some support from local Gemeente here.
That's very, very good. I'm so glad. I had actually been informed in the embassy regarding ICIN's initiative in this regard. So it's excellent work that you're doing. Thank you so much.
Thanks, ma'am. So anything else by anyone? If not, then I think we can wind up. It was a good session. We had a good interaction. So I did not hear anything from Anita ma'am. Anita ma'am, you would like to add anything or would like to share? Or anyone, ma'am, other than you two, anybody else from embassy who has joined?
I think it was Anita and myself who had joined from the embassy.
Okay, is Anita ma'am still there?
That is correct.
Okay, Anita ma'am is there. Maybe you would like to add or comment something, ma'am?
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. I was listening everything. Sir answered all the questions and ma'am also answered. So, I would like to congratulate to all team. You have taken so much effort. I know from the beginning what they have done for all the people and students especially. And they all wrote back to us also that you have helped a lot. So if you have any question, like madam told you, that you can send an email to cons.thehague@mea.gov.in.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am, and sorry we troubled you a lot in the last few days to get sir on the for this session. So I think we troubled many people also in embassy other than Anita ma'am as well. Kaur ma'am also there, and we keep sending an email, chatting with them on a WhatsApp. So sorry for that, but yeah.
You can contact us anytime. It's not a trouble at all. We are there to help you only.
Sure.
So please.
Yeah, definitely. I had always got a good response from embassy whenever I have reached, whether it is a Gangesh sir or Anita ma'am, you, or maybe Kaur ma'am, or maybe directly to the sir or someone. I always got a good response. So that's really good, and thanks for all the support which is embassy is showing on us. And with the support of the people, embassy support and other local councils, we were able to achieve 2 years. Hopefully we grow more, and we get more and more people joining from all other part of Netherlands, from different cities to be a part of ICIN. That's the one. Maybe those who are there in the people, please pass on about India Center. We are trying as much as what we can do for Indians here. That's the one which I would like to add. Okay, if nothing, then I think. Sorry, ma'am, you were saying something.
Just thank you very much, ICIN, for organizing this session today, and congratulations again on your 2-year anniversary. And keep us informed about your next session as well. As Ambassador said, we can also help promote the session through our social media, and if possible, Ambassador can also join that session as well.
Sure, ma'am. As said. Yeah, as said, like 20 June, we are planning a session with the Eindhoven Gemeente Council. So where the discussion is on, where we will have 2 sessions, one for Indian students, especially those who are in TUE or Fontes or any of the surrounding in the Eindhoven University, surrounding Eindhoven universities. And also one session for the Indians who are living in this Eindhoven region. So the Gemeente wants to meet up and understand what is the concern which is being faced by the Indians in the during the COVID, and what is that help can be given by the Gemeente they want to connect. So that is the session which we have planned. Definitely we will share the invite, and we'll share all the information before and hand, so that you can also publish it, or would you like to share it with some person who you think that it should be good to share it with them. That is also thank you. So if nothing else, Diksha, I think we can wind up. You can go with the closure message.
Thank you, Mrinalini ma'am and Anita ma'am, especially to both of you and the ambassadors for joining us. And I would like to thank everyone, every participant who's present in this meeting and has been so patient to not leave the meeting in between. Thanks a lot, and keep an eye on the Instagram, Facebook and LinkedIn pages for Indian Center in Netherlands. We will be conducting similar sessions going forward, and all of you will get a notification via Facebook and LinkedIn. So please keep an eye on that, and thank you once again, and stay safe, stay home.
Thank you all. Stay safe, stay home. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you so much.